We told the story of Back to the Future the way we wanted to with the trilogy. We don't want to go back to that well because the story is completely satisfying the way that it is. And, why muddy or pollute the waters? But it was actually Bob Zemeckis' wife, Leslie, who said, did you guys ever think about turning Back to the Future into a musical? And we hadn't really. And we thought about it and said, you know what, maybe that's a way to give the people Back to the Future, to retell the story of Back to the Future in a new medium that won't interfere with the legacy and the canon of the films as they exist, but will give us a new window into Back to the Future and give people a new Back to the Future experience. Because I think when people say, I want Back to the Future 4, I want another Back to the Future, I want a Back to the Future reboot, what they're really saying is, what I really want is to see something that gives me the same visceral experience that I had the first time I saw Back to the Future. That's what people really want to have. And that's why everybody goes to the next sequel of, fill in the blank, hoping that it's going to be as good as the first one, and, it never really is. So this is a way, there's two ways right now that you can get a Back to the Future experience that is reminiscent of the first time you saw it. One of them is when the concert circuit reopens, Back to the Future in concert. And that's where you go and a live orchestra plays the Back to the Future score while the movie is playing. And the visceral feeling that you get with a live orchestra playing all that great Alan Silvestri music, it's really powerful. It's fantastic. And the other one is our musical. And just ask anybody who got to see it in Manchester, and I think you'll hear them say, yeah, this was a new way of experiencing Back to the Future that gave me the same kind of goosebumps that I got when I saw the movie.
Great.
That's incredible. So let's jump over to the next question. I really do want to get through as many of these as possible. So question from Blake at Film Fest. What location has been the most remote place that you've heard of there being Back to the Future fans? I know that movie stars mentioned being in a completely remote, isolated places, whether in Africa or Asia, or even there they get recognized by their movies.
Yeah, Michael J. Fox has that story, and I forget whether he was in Africa or Asia, where he was in some godforsaken place, and somebody yelled out, "McFly!"
That's awesome.
All right, I get the next one here from 80 at Sir Dunalot. If you made Back to the Future now, what 3 eras would you choose to visit?
Well, we're not making it now, and so we're not even thinking about that. So that's not even a good question for me to answer. Let's go to the next question.
All right, let's jump over to the next one. This one comes from Jenny. So for Stephen, are there any plans to start a community section on the website?
Currently, no. We've had that in the past. Bob may actually remember this. I had arranged for the 25th anniversary celebration, the very first one back in 2010, to be here in my hometown. And Bob and Claudia and James Token and Michael Chaffee came into town. Well, about a week before this big, great celebration, we had a hack on the website through the community site. And so I've been very, very apprehensive about starting up a new one. And it's a lot to maintain and to moderate. I've done it in the past, but it's something I would consider. We've got all new software we use now for the website. So back in those days, everything was piecemealed. I had one piece of software that did the community, and another did the website, and another did the store, and so, chat and so forth. So there are a lot more consolidated solutions now. So there's not, and a lot more secure. So I mean, it's something I would consider, but it's not currently on my radar at the moment.
Got it. Well, I feel like I have to plug Bevy at this point for your community solution. Definitely
Right.
check out Bevy. Check us out in the booth today as well. But yeah, let's jump over to the next question.
Oh, I'm looking at this one because it's for all of us. It's kind of weird, so, but I kind of want to answer. I already have an answer rolled up. For the panel from Reed Coles 34, what was your favorite scene from the whole trilogy?
Who? King Lear got in a lot of trouble when he was asked who was his favorite daughter. That's why it's called The Tragedy of King Lear. I will tell you that my favorite moment of making the trilogy was the first night that Michael J. Fox came to work. As all the fans, I'm sure, already know, we'd shot 5.5 weeks of the picture with Eric Stoltz as Marty McFly, and that wasn't working out. And we did something that was considered at the time, and could be considered today, maybe completely insane, and that is to fire our lead actor that far and third of the way into the shoot and start all over again with somebody else. And we didn't know if this was going to really work or not, although we kind of thought it would. But as soon as Michael J. Fox showed up on the set, started introducing himself and being happy to be there, and this was a Twin Pines Mall sequence, and he started doing the same stuff that Eric had done the week before. Everybody in the crew, it was like the lights suddenly turned on, and everybody said, "Oh, it's going to work. This kid really is Marty McFly. It's going to be a good picture. It's great." So that's the moment I indelibly in my head.
Steve?
I don't really have a specific scene. I've been so fortunate to meet so many of the actors who are in the trilogy and forge close friendships with them. So, for me personally, anytime Tom Wilson, who played Biff, anytime he's on screen, that's my favorite. Tom and I have done a lot of shows together, and he makes my jaws hurt. He's so funny. So anytime he's on screen, I do remember probably the most goosebump moment of the trilogy for me was in part 3 at the very end of the film when the DeLorean rises up off of the rails. And, the very first time I saw that, it's going to derail, and that just goosebumps. That's one of those goosebump moments for me, is seeing the car rear up just before it's about to go through time for the very last time. So, yeah, I mean, I kind of have to separate myself out from the films because I know so many of these actors in real life, and so it's pure joy for me.
What about you, Marcia? Do you have a favorite?
It's so hard to pick, but I think one that jumps to mind is the end of the first movie where the DeLorean takes off in the air and the line is, "Where we're going, we don't need roads." I love that. A lot of spoilers here in this conversation if anybody hasn't.
If you haven't seen this and
what are you doing here?
That's your fault. That is definitely. I just want to say my favorite is, and it's the entire sequence of the Enchantment Under the Sea dance, but the part where Pops McFly goes and says, I got a chance to talk to Leah Thompson about this, and that sort of transition of his character when he punches Beth, and it's like, it's everything. It is absolutely everything. And the fact that you kill me because it's not everything, because it doesn't fix everything, and that's it, right? No. But to go further, the whole sequence is just brilliant to me. I was talking to a college class course about that, and I said, you should watch that whole sequence, because that's writing, and that's sequential, that's character building, and that's arc that you can never see again. So that's probably my favorite of all 3 films.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Okay.
All right, let's hop over to the next question. So this one seems to have come from a few different people in chat. Are there any upcoming appearances for Bob Gale where fans can meet him and get items signed, including the book? I mean, that might be tough to answer with COVID restrictions, but yeah, let us know if anything's coming up.
Well, if you happen to be in the UK, I'm heading over there. I'm heading over there very soon, and I am doing an appearance at the Silvertone DeLorean event, which is about, I think it's about 2 hours north of London. I'm not exactly sure where it is, but you can Google that. That'll be the place where you can find me to sign stuff if you happen to be there. I don't necessarily recommend that you make plans just to go there, because travelers from any other country have to quarantine for 5 or 10 days, and I'm flattered that you want me to sign something, but it's really not worth sitting around a hotel room for 10 days. Why do you get cleared to do that?
Wait a minute. All right, it looks like the next question. Gabriel Cabezzo, 16. Are there plans of making more Back to the Future comics and/or crossovers? And will they be published by IDW? That's specific.
Not at the moment. The Back to the Future Transformers series is just finishing up. An acquired taste, I guess. The toy is great, by the way. The DeLorean that transforms into the giant robot called Gigawatt is very, very cool. I haven't heard of anything new proposals from IDW, but as the barbed wire salesman said in Back to the Future 3, you never know what the future might bring.
Very cool. So next question comes from Brandon Canilo, and it's for Bob. Is there anything from any of the movies in terms of props that you wish you would have kept to this day?
I wish I'd have kept a few more hoverboards, I guess. I've got 3 of them, and would have been nice to have a whole set, I guess. I don't regret trying to steal a car. The brainwave machine, that might have been nice. Been a nice thing to have hanging on the wall somewhere. On the other hand, my wife would say, "What are we gonna do with this brainwave machine?"
All right, here we go. From Roston Mendez, and I'm just going to do this because I'm here in Dallas, Texas. Will y'all ever release the footage for Eric Stoltz? We've been waiting for 36 years.
Well, we didn't destroy that footage because we recognize its historic significance. But Eric is still a working actor, and we don't want to put this out there for his sake, because the internet being what it is, there's an awful lot of hate and nasty stuff that goes online, and we put this out there, and people would just dump on Eric, saying, "Oh man, what a crappy actor! These things are bad. Why would we do that to anybody?" So it's there, and if you're young, you'll probably live long enough to see it. If you're old, probably not.
That's awesome. Next question comes from Kevin Nerna. Sorry if I said that wrong. So this is for the whole panel. If you could go back to any time for any reason, where would you go? Let's start with Steven for this one.
Oh, wow.
It's tough.
as much as I enjoyed time travel, I really don't want to re-experience any of the mistakes that I've made in the past. So, I'm sure that I would have some messages for young Stephen Clark at age 20 when he first saw this film. Yeah, some things are best left undone. So I'll let him figure it out.
James, what about you?
I don't want to go back. I want to go forward. I mean, that'd be the whole point. Like I've seen all that stuff. All that stuff ain't great for me. So I want to see. So if I could go forward, Kevin, I would go at least another 35 years. I'd go wherever I would feel there'd be flying cars. Honestly, that's where I would go wherever this, because the Jetsons and Back to the Future really messed me up. So I would go.
And Bob, what about you?
Well, if I was going to go back in time, I mentioned that my mom was a professional violinist. After World War II, she had an ensemble called Maxine and Her Men, and they played in nightclubs in the St. Louis area. I would go back and catch her act. I'd like to see that.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's super cool. I feel like I would go way, way back if I had the opportunity. I would check out medieval times or even further back. That'd be pretty cool.
I'm pretty sure there's not dragons, so if there's Game of Thrones in it back, then you're going to be really upset. So.
Woody Allen said that he wouldn't want to go back to any time period before indoor plumbing.
That's a very good point.
It is on it. Let's see here. Okay, this is from that crazy thing called Instagram, Steven. So hang on. From Back to the Future Legacy on Instagram, the fading, disappearing photo Marty has with his brother and sister was taken at the Amblin Well, which has Jaws in it. How did it come about that the well would be in the place where this photo was taken, and who took the photo? That's a
very good question. Are we asking who took the photo in the continuity of the story, or who took the photo from the company? It would have probably been our unit photographer that took the picture, Ralph Nelson. But in terms of the continuity of the story, it would have been, George or Lorraine, taking a picture of the kids hanging out at this wishing well. Obviously nobody who's not in the know knows that wishing well exists on Hamlin and Universal, and no tourists can go back there to take that picture at that well. But you just see a wishing well and you say, oh, okay, the family took a family vacation somewhere and there was a wishing well, and Lorraine said, kids, why don't you get next to that wishing well, and George, take that picture. So that's the story there. But now here's the interesting time travel question. Okay, we have a picture of the three kids in front of the well, and then Dave disappears, and it would still make sense that George would take a picture of Marty and Linda in front of the well, and then it would still make sense of a picture of Marty in front of the well. But if Marty disappears, why would anybody want to just take a picture of that well? So I'll let the fans try to figure that one out.
Yeah, let's see some discussion around that in the chat. So next question comes from Steve C. And this is a very future-looking question. What's in store for the 40th anniversary?
Well, that's where we need to get the DeLorean and travel forward and find out for sure. Who knows whether there's going to be some new format, or I hope we'll have a little bit more about the musical as special features in the 40th anniversary. And by then, we hope that there will be different productions of the musical traveling around. Whether we can make the movies look any better than they do now, I kind of doubt it. The 4K transfers are absolutely glorious. If you have a 4K system the movies have never looked better than they do now.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're running out of time here, but I think we can get this one in from this Aaron. Wait a minute. Okay, wait a minute. No, we're gonna go. Okay, yeah, Aaron Wada. No, here we go.
Yay.
Jeremy Havlika. Now that the 4K version of the films are out, I'm all kinds of. You know what? I'm gonna skip that question because it's not finished.
We'll come
This
back
is
to
a
it.
good one. It is. Where did the McFly name come from? And the same person asked Aaron Wada. 1:16 is the time Marty meets Doc at the mall, and 1:16 is the length of the film. Was that planned or a happy accident? And is that correct?
Ooh, good question.
Boy, that 116 thing, that's very cool. Something I never put that together.
That's me.
No, that was absolutely a happy accident. When you cut the movie, you don't know exactly how long it's going to be, and the first sneak preview version of the movie was 7 minutes longer than what we released. So that was just an accident. What was the other part of the question? I'm sorry.
Oh, where did the name McFly come from?
Bob Zemeckis came up with that. He said in the first draft, very first rough draft, his name was Marty McDermott, and Bob said, "Nah, we need a more catchy name than that. How about McFly?" So there it is.
Love that.
You see the
Okay.
quick chance in the last one?
Yeah, we do. So question from Jeremy Havlika. Now that the 4K version of the films are out, I'm noticing all kinds of details such as background signs. Is there anything we should keep an eye out for or anything you noticed for the first time yourself?
Yeah, actually. In fact, when we were doing the transfers, we blurted out there was a crew member off the side of the frame in the runaway wagon sequence on part 3. You can't see that person now. If you put your old Blu-ray edition up, you might be able to see him if you know where to look. So yeah, there are a few little details in there that I hadn't seen before, and some of them are supposed to be there, and some of them not so much. And we try to fix the ones that didn't belong. Yeah.
There's a lot of details throughout the trilogy that we've got on the website. There's a frequently asked questions article that Bob wrote back in 1990 that we've got published on there. And so some of the details that he actually recommended fans way back then to look for. One that just comes off the mind is there's a sign at the Biff Museum that says "smoking required." And so, I mean, it's just little details like that he put throughout the trilogy that gives you quite a chuckle when you see those for the first time. Even if it's the 10,000th time you've seen the film, you may see something new.
That's awesome. So as we wrap up this session, in our last 30 seconds or so, for folks in the audience, what's the best way for them to stay in touch with the community, to join the community, and to stay in touch with what's coming out with the musical and the book?
Well, I'll take part of that. Backtothefuture.com. You can go straight there to the website. We have links out to the musical, which is backtothefuturemusical.com. You can buy your tickets directly from their website for those shows, those upcoming events. Backtothefuture.store is where you can get all officially licensed merchandise. And like I said, Twitter is just at Back to the Future. And so there's lots of ways, but go to backtothefuture.com. You can get everything from that domain.
Awesome. All right, so that takes us to the end of this session. I just want to say a huge thank you to Bob, to Stephen for taking the time to participate in this and to connect with the community. And James, thank you so much for being a phenomenal co-host.
It was my pleasure. It's a bucket list. I'm crossing things off right now.
I just want to put in a plug for my pal Rich Weisenthal, who runs the DeLorean car shows now. He's doing an event in Crystal Lake, Illinois in August. You can find out about it on Facebook. Go to DeLorean Convention Show has a page, and you can find out all about that. And if you want to hang out with a bunch of DeLorean fanatics, no better place than that show.
That sounds like a blast. I love it. Well, thank you again so much to all of you. Really appreciate you taking the time, and this was such a blast for the community. So thank you, thank you, thank you. So this takes us to the end of the content of our event. I just want to say a huge thank you to everybody who joined today, who asked such insightful questions during the various panels and various sessions of the event. I hope that you all are walking away with some great insights around the future of events and how to plan for them, and you feel like you're part of a community and you have a place where you can connect with one another. So a quick reminder, we're going to be sending out a survey after this event. Please share your feedback. It's going to take you just a few seconds. There's just a few questions there. And the first 50 people to fill it out are going to receive a $25 Amazon gift card. Thank you to our partner Ribbon for that. So with that, the next couple of hours, we're keeping the event open. Please enjoy the networking, check out the booths if you didn't have a chance to check some of them out, and let's keep the conversation going. Thank you so much again to everybody who joined today. This was such a great event. Thank you.